So I typically tell a story inside the fear resolve process, and I say it this way: that there was a day in your life there was a time in your life that you had a pure heart. Nothing really mattered. The only thing that mattered was that you had a heart that was pure, and you wanted to protect yourself. You wanted to do everything you can in order to experience the joy, the happiness, the love, the care, and every single thing that you can imagine in your life. But then one day something happened. When that thing happened, what happened was so emotionally arresting. It was so emotionally arresting that you couldn't take your mind off it. It was so emotionally arresting that it actually caught your attention. It came to that point where it was so emotionally arresting that for a long time you could not actually get your mind off it. You could not actually get past it. So it became a barrier, it became a blockade for that particular level you were in your life at that point. And the interesting thing is this: from that day onward, you now decided, unconsciously actually, you decided to put on a mask. And this mask now became how you began to protect yourself, how you began to protect yourself from the outside world. This mask became what you use in order so that people cannot actually have access into your life. This mask became what you use in order to protect yourself from the outside world, in order to actually hide away from the outside world. So if you think about it right now, you realize that this mask eventually, because you hide or you hid behind this mask for a long time, this mask eventually became you. This mask became more of who you are, such that now you can't even recognize yourself any longer. And so this mask has become a part of you, has become a core identity for you, such that you can't even distinguish yourself away from this mask that you have worn in order to protect yourself from the outside world. Now, for a lot of people, they use a lot of things as this mask. Some use success, so they go after things, try to become the next big thing. For some people, it is addiction. So they become addicted to something, and then they try to use that thing to actually solve the problem that doesn't want to go away, the problem that they actually don't want to solve. So that mask now becomes what they use to distract themselves away from the main problem that they are having. And if you consider it right now in your own life, what are you using to use as cover up? What are you using as a mask in order to protect yourself, in order to cover yourself away from the outside world, in order to tell yourself that your life is still in shape? I'm not saying your life is not in shape. I'm just saying that eventually we become the mask that we wear. Eventually we become that mask. And this mask now begins to color every single thing we do with our lives. It begins to color how we look at life. It begins to color how we respond to issues. In fact, for so many people, they eventually become this mask. And when they become that mask, they don't get to free themselves from that mask. If you want to find healing, if you want to find success, you need to actually take off that mask. You need to look beyond that mask. You need to take it off. In order to take it off, what do you need to do? First of all, you need to acknowledge that you are already masked. That is, you need to acknowledge first of all that you are wearing a mask, and that this mask is time for you to actually put it down. Now, why do you need to actually unmask? The major reason why you need to unmask is so that you can live an authentic life, a life where your internal world is equal to your external world, a life where you're not pretending to people, you're not trying to be who you are not, a life where you are proud to identify with, not a life where you go back and then After everything is done, after all the masks that you put up in front of people, you go back home and then you are beginning to cry and say, I wish this, I wish that. So take this from me today. Find healing first by clearing up the mask, by taking off the masks that you wear to relate with the outside world. And I'm saying it's valid for you to have actually covered up that mask. But that mask, if it has become your identity, if it has become the only way that you can see yourself, then you need to take off that mask. You need to take off that mask, majorly because you have not seen yourself yet until you actually take off that mask and see your life from a total perspective. I am Dayo Samuel, and I hope that this particular video is helpful to you. I hope what I've shared here is helpful to you in some ways. If it is, I would like to hear from you in the comment, and even if it is not, I would like to hear from you as well. Of course, like, share, subscribe to this channel, and I will be glad to hear from you. See you again some other time.